How did it all get started for me in the business funding world, as in me receiving business funding from multiple services, lenders, organizations, but also what businesses do I run? How did I get into this space as a business loan broker expert, and so much more? Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. Let me get right into things. I can remember as far back as 2014, 2015, and then 2016 were some very tough years for me in terms of working the whole 9 to 5 grunt work, doing things hard mentally as well as physically. I was in a job role where I was being underappreciated, undervalued, underpaid, so much more. That's an understatement. And like many of you before me, being underappreciated, undervalued, underpaid, so much more. That's an understatement. And like many of you before me, and perhaps you're still going through this, trying to start your own business, wondering, how do I get startup financing? If I'm a non-startup, how do I go through the trenches of making sure I go through a reliable and trustworthy source? I'll go through that in a moment, and my own hiccups, so you don't have to make those mistakes, or if you have, to avoid them. But I was working in a logistics/business role, and I was overseeing the shipping, receiving center. I was putting stuff into the computer, data-wise, Excel spreadsheets, budgets, allocating costs, not heavily hands-on like the person in front of me. But again, I was being underpaid, undervalued, underappreciated by far with my other coworker and coworkers. And I had to move material. So I took this role after university. I went back to school, and then I went through community college. And then after getting my degree, I said, I'm going to go back into the workforce. So I took something that I could get myself into, get some more time underneath my belt, more stability. And I quickly realized that this wasn't going to do it for me, like many of us do. We get into a role and we finally get trapped into thinking, hey, maybe the money's good for us. Maybe it isn't the money, but the benefits. And so the benefits and money, I didn't get into it for that. I was underpaid by far. So it had nothing to do with that, but more about the stability. Somewhat the benefits were there, but not necessarily that. It was more about stability again. So I stayed in this role for about 3 years. And again, moving things physically, I have been forklift certified. I used the forklift, the electric pallet jack, and I had other roles before this. I worked in warehousing, I had worked in construction, I had done manufacturing with my pops, other roles logistically speaking, and then in the financial/logistics space in that subcategory. So working hard up here with the computer, and that job was slow in the beginning when I began. I didn't have to move so much material. I was helping out with HP in a subcontracting company in a 3-story building with 3 different companies. You had Peace Health, you had HP, and you had a few contracting, very highly regarded companies, and I was a part of one of them. And we were servicing those others, moving media blocks, big blocks, and it wasn't as busy. So I said, okay, I can do this. It's not physically demanding, and I'm not a physically demanding type of person, but I put myself into that position because not a lot of other things were available at the time, and I needed really to get going. And I said, I start here for a little bit and then move on. But I stuck it out. Times were slow in the company. Not a lot of stuff was coming in, so it wasn't physically demanding. And then a year or so of it, or about 6 or so months, that's when it started to pick up and ramped up. And then I started to have to get up and down more, sat on the computer, worked a lot for an extended amount of time, putting budget sheets together, making sure our costs were good, and doing a few other things. But it was never enough. I was not getting paid enough, like I said, and being undervalued, underdelivered by far. And so I started to think about ways of, hey, let me go back to school. Should I go back and finish about another year? Should I go back and get more certificates? I'm already forklift certified. I'm confined space certified. I have a few other ones. Do I need to put more underneath my belt? I didn't really want to do that. So I started to do more research one day at work while I was sitting at my desk, and I know we shouldn't be doing these kind of things. But I have my coworker in one corner, I have another person in this corner, and I'm over here. I have a supervisor in front of me who he had never retired. I thought he was going to, so I could take up that role. That's why I stuck in it for so long, because I was thinking he would retire soon, and he was alluding to that. It's just him, his wife came together and said, you can stay around for a little bit more. He was an ex-engineer in hardware, and I thought I would be able to go long because I was thinking he would retire soon, and he was alluding to that. It's just him, his wife came together and said, you can stay around for a little bit more. He was an ex-engineer in hardware, and I thought I would be able to take over that role, which would give me a lot more flexibility and more to work with. But that never came about. The company ended up going down under. But before that even happened, like I said, I was one day at my desktop, the computer out in front of me, and I'm just searching for new ways. And it was at this moment that I was having lunch. So I had gone over to the corner to my right, and then to my left, there was a refrigerator. Opened it up, grabbed out my lunch bag, my blue lunch bag that I can remember, walked over, somewhat slow, back to my cubicle, and I had set my lunch bag right in front of me. And as I sat down, I was not bothered by anybody. I was there by myself. My coworker was somewhere else, off to lunch. And literally, I am sitting in this cubicle that's not even closed. People can walk in and out like this, and it's at the bottom of a 3-story building. And it looked like a dungeness area where you can look up and you see a bright light beaming down. And even though it was bright, it was still dark at the same time because the flooring was brown, There were cracks, and a very small cubicle, one cubicle after the next layered, and people on the other ones. And here I am sitting down having my lunch, which happened to be a sandwich that day. Nothing special, it was just ham and cheese. Literally no tomatoes, no avocado, lettuce, anything more that I would usually put. Just that day I had that. And then I believe I had a Doritos chips bag, one of the small ones. I peeled that open, and then I grabbed some chips, take a bite, set it down. Then I have a bite of my sandwich. And next thing you know, I'm getting a Snapchat, one of those notifications from the Snapchat social media app that I had used at the time. I don't use it as much anymore, but it was a friend of mine. And I'm wondering, hey, I haven't spoken to him in some time. And wondering, what is he reaching out about? So I opened up that message, and I see a picture of this savory, nice-looking teriyaki meal that I had the night before. I had taken a picture of it, and I put it up on Snapchat. And if it weren't for doing that, my life would not be where it really is. And the reasoning behind that is he just started talking to me, and I started getting caught up with him. Hey, Tyson, how are you doing? He's asking me, how are things going? I'm always positive, so I always go, things are going great. And the inside, I was boiling. You can only imagine, working hard mentally, physically, being underpaid, undervalued, and then company having to go down under, which we were informed about, that they were going to be relieving about up to 50 or so people. And I was one of them, unfortunately. And even in higher up positions in the HP Peace Health role and so forth, they were relieved of their position and their duties, company going down under. But that exact day, I had been talking to my friend, and, I go, hey, what are you up to? He's in the trucking industry, in the trucking business, doing this and that. And he started telling me about how there were other ways of him wanting to explore making a passive income and starting other business models and getting into other businesses. And he alluded to digital marketing, passive income through affiliate marketing specifically, which was the promotion of other people's products and services without you having to own them to start with, or you can develop into that over time, or in the beginning if you have something that is tested and proven in the market. So that day, literally, I had finished my sandwich, and I couldn't wait for, I believe it was until 2:30 to come around. And as it came about, I literally flew through the elevator, up the floors, and then out the front door. And quickly I was into my Honda at the time. It was a red Honda with being down, red blazing, like the sun, when the sun hits the car and you see the white starts showing on top of the hood. That's what you can do with being down, red blazing, like the sun, when the sun hits the car and you see the white starts showing on top of the hood. That's what you could see because I spent some time in California and university, and I had lived out there for a little bit before that. But what happened is I went to my house, and then I literally burst through the door, and it almost felt like I had blown the door apart, like in a movie when you see a cop or you see any kind of super human action figure just going in there, blasting through a door. It's what it felt like, but it really wasn't. And so I had opened the door, closed it, not too hard, but I just took my time to go ahead and close it, put my backpack that was on me at the time in front of my floor steps, and I peeled around the corner. It felt like I was going at 100 miles an hour at this point, where then I turned to and I could see my kitchen. And there is my counter where I have my laptop, and that's where I was sitting. I had left it there in the morning because I was doing a few things before work. And so I had left it there, literally picked it up, turned around, put it right here on my dinner table, which is not this one, but I had put it there, and I flipped it open, signed on in, the little passcode you have, and I started going into the browser, and like anybody else would do, I started searching about this whole passive income. Like, this doesn't exist. And I had thought that when my friend sent me that text message and we started talking about it at work. Too good to be true, like many of us think. So we're no different in that. And so literally I was there searching. I went through YouTube, I went through blogs, and yeah, this information looked legitimate. It looked like people were actually making a living with promoting other people's products and services, and they were also starting a digital marketing agency. And so that's what I wanted to do. I knew about e-commerce because of a friend who was in it for some time, and another friend who was actually trying to get in it. When I came back from California, he spoke to me about, I want to get into the e-commerce world and stuff like that. I had tried a while ago, it wasn't even successful, network marketing. And it was like not something I really liked because of the whole sign up people to then sign up people. That's not what I liked at all. Get people to buy a product and then you earn a piece of them if they're not a client, they're not a customer, and all this. It's just, there's parts of it that work well and there's other parts that don't. So really I got into this and I started figuring out, okay, there's a better way of doing this. That it just sounded too good to be true, but until I did my research about it, that's when I really flipped the lid and I started thinking, okay, I can do this. So initially I had started a website like I was told to do online. So I opened up a Wix, and then I did a WordPress, and then I did a few other ones that I don't want to get into a lot of detail in, but there are a lot of website builders that I started exploring with, experimenting with. But I started like a blog. I started blogging a little bit because somebody said, hey, you can blog about different products and services. And I thought, okay, let me venture down that route. And at that same time, I started building my digital marketing agency. And I went further into my digital marketing agency, went a little bit behind on affiliate stuff just to focus on that. And I started helping clients generate more leads, more traffic to their business, understand how to put a website together, how to put ads together. But of course, as I was learning how to do that, I was learning myself. And there was a brief stint where I took time away so I can focus on the academics of that. Went through some academy courses, some very extensive courses, and then I came back to it and I went full throttle with it. And again, I started teaching people and showing people how to understand how to leverage different platforms at the same time, and doing it in more of a done-for-you setup myself and or with my team, to now it being more of a do-it-for-yourself, where I've created content around Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, to now it being more of a do-it-for-yourself, where I've created content around Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, you name it. And if there's something to be updated, I will do that and put it into my course. And I usually bundle that in when you perhaps purchase a product or a service. Perhaps you get business funding. If you have gotten it from me in the past, I would have sent you those bonuses and you would know what I'm talking about. But sometimes I give it away for free, and sometimes I don't, just the way it goes. And so I started building that digital marketing agency even more, getting more clients, getting more experience, understanding how to leverage my skill sets in the writing aspects, and then understanding how to do it via video, because I had produced a little bit of video content on my affiliate marketing niche, which that was in the health space. So I worked in the health affiliate marketing space, promoting things around back pain, because I had those and I wanted to help a lot of people understand how to relieve their back pain, subacute, acute, chronic, sciatic. through supplements, through seat cushions, which I'm actually sitting on them as we speak, an ergonomic chair. I understand all of the differences, what makes up a good one, different things on fixing the diagnosis, not just masking the symptoms, fibrin. I don't want to get into that topic too far ahead, but just know that at the same time I was building the digital marketing agency, I still had my affiliate marketing business model over here where I was promoting health products primarily in the back pain space, and then it had evolved into other subcategories over time. And so doing that through Amazon, doing that through my own digital products that I was able to put out there, material for people to digest and take for free, or whether that was paid or not, and groups and so forth. So I started doing the two, meshing them together, because the skill sets, they kind of just overlapped. So I was building the digital marketing agency, getting clients, getting them to build out their websites, understanding how to do it for them myself, because most business owners didn't want to do that. What are the meta tags, meta descriptions, how to do the different categories, canonical URLs, and a bunch of that starts with that you don't want to even have me get into. But SEO related, blogging, putting their website together, video ads, not video ads, different platforms. I was helping leverage people, doing it for more of a done for you approach. And now I have more of a do it for yourself, where I also can create a marketing document for people if necessary. And I have a video material and content that you can go ahead and take it and go, hey, this is what I need to get set up with. This is the next step. This is how I can get leads. This is what I can do to be more omnipresent. And I started beginning to do that and transferring those own digital assets to people. And so over time, building my health affiliate marketing business, building the digital marketing agency, and then I had then evolved into a different affiliate marketing business, which was the whole marketing software or making money online type of space, after I was able to do it for myself and proving to do it. So if you have some kind of knowledge in affiliate marketing, this speaks to you in thinking this is another guru. I'm not a guru. I began understanding the health space, getting into the digital marketing agency world, doing a form of e-commerce split with affiliate marketing, my health business, and then going back, so hybrid, and then going back to my blog, but eventually understanding how to leverage different software marketing tools and systems. So then I started showing people how to leverage these and how I've been able to leverage them. If there were courses they need to purchase, are they worthy of it or not? How did I leverage those courses that I purchased? At what point did I leverage those courses based upon just, hey, I'm already doing well. I just want to see what this course can do for me. If I can review it for somebody and it'll help somebody out there like it's done for me, if it did, then I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to be credible in how I do this. And so over time, I eventually, now's where the part that comes into why business loan brokering. And so over time, I eventually, now's where the part that comes into why business loan brokering. And so for me, why business loan brokering? And so for me, I always wanted to get into the financial space in terms of business loan brokering. Now, logistics and / business role, I was already doing part of the finance. To some degree, I was doing the budgeting, a lot more of the data stuff on Excel, and ordering more things. But over here, I finally wanted to get into the space, and that's what I always had in mind. This was always my vision. I wanted to begin understanding how to leverage marketing and online. I'm not a salesperson per se, although we're all selling at one point, right? I'm not a salesperson traditionally. I'm an introverted person who went to school for academics, who studied chemistry. I wanted to become a chemical engineer, and then I had studied the sciences and physics. I had studied thereafter I got into it more heavily with the economics, macro statistics, calculus as I took those. I love math. I love systems. Math and systems are like my favorite thing. So I got it into more of the business accounting role. I started learning more of those and leveraging them. And so come full circle to this after the digital marketing agency, the few affiliate marketing / e-commerce / hybrid roles. Then I started getting into what I wanted to primarily focus on. And those, I still have them. It's just a bit of it is outsourced. A bit of it I can manage myself to some degree. Just depends on what I have going on there. And so when I got into business loan brokering, after working on those businesses, after seeing how I can get funding for those, after learning the ropes of acquiring business funding, whether that was through business credit cards, personal credit cards, and or as well as on the front end, how can I get these private loan lenders to lend me money? And so I started learning, I started going through my trials and tribulations with those businesses and understanding, man, there's so much out there, but who can I trust? And I almost got scammed here and there. I figured out that these were not legitimate sources and organizations and brokers to work with. They were just over-promising and under-delivering. You've probably been in that position. You've heard of companies running these ads, but are they trustworthy? Not always. You have to be careful about giving information to third parties, which is what I did. I didn't know that I couldn't get a 10-year term loan and doing just $3,000 or not even anything at the beginning when I had no revenue generating. So like many of you who are a complete startup and you're wondering, how do you generate that revenue? And how do you take that revenue you can be given in the terms of a loan or a loan there and be using it to multiply your money? That's what primarily you should be seeking. And like many of you, I was looking for this 10-year term. I'm like, I don't even need it right away, but can I be ready for it? And I'll have 10 years for it. And that's not how this works. And I had my information dispersed to other vendors and people, and they were trying to get a contact with me via email, text message, and in so many more ways that were just difficult to accept. Yet I was submitting applications, but I always got hesitant at the last moment to say, hey, I'm going to sign a contract. Is this very legitimate? So I finally realized with one company, when I spoke to a friend and they started going over with me the processes on how they worked and how established they were and what they were able to do. And then that's how I really started to like, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go through that. And so going through this whole spell, just to put it in shorter terms, because I have stories upon stories, that ultimately what I realized through all of this is you can't always get what you want. You're not always entitled or deserving. Yes, you're deserving as a business owner. That's what I want for you. Personally and in business, I get to know people on a great level. I'm an introvert, so it depends on how much you want to open up. I'm the same way. And so understanding this in the facets, all the factors, compartmentalizing all of this, I can only imagine how much you're going through. And as I'm saying this, it even still trembles to me to even think about that time. And so I realized all of this and funding my own business, what you're going through. And as I'm saying this, it even still trembles to me to even think about that time. And so I realized all of this and funding my own businesses, and I went, this is what I wanted to do ultimately. So what I then turned around in and said, hey, if I'm already getting business funding, how can I help spread the word for someone else? And that's how I really dove deep into this space, understanding, wow, I don't want people to get lost. I don't want people to get tricked, duped. I don't want people to feel like there is no funding available to them. Now, that is also determinant on the time you're coming to receive funding. If your profile is ready, your fundability details. If not, what are we missing? Are we missing a little bit? Are we missing a lot? What do we need to work with what we have? What do we need to build upon? What can we wait for? And then when you're ready, and that's when you want to do things. So I really wanted to take that next step. And so I started to educate myself even deeper with the best of the best. I got together with the best lenders, underwriters, the best team you can think of, the best systems with my systematical mind and mathematical mind. And with them together, put together something very extraordinary. And so once I started doing this and helping people out, I even became better. And doing this for many, many years now, I understand equivocally like what it takes, what the market is speaking to today, what it'll speak to tomorrow, in a month, 2 months, next year, and so forth. And helping out a lot of business owners and businesses of different backgrounds and industries, I know what you should and should not be doing. I've been in that position. And even if I haven't, I know it because I've helped out a lot of people. I know what the underwriters, the lenders, everybody is looking for. I know why it's better to do more of an in-house setup as opposed to always going directly. There's instances where directly makes sense and other times where indirectly makes sense, where I already have those partnerships with those lenders. It's just better to do it of a more in-house setup. One second. Now let me turn on this light back here because it is dark. And so when I get to helping you, consulting with you, there are differences between being with a direct lender and indirect lender, and there's so much more you have to learn about. And if you're not staying on top of what I'm releasing, yeah, it might feel a bit frustrating, maybe a bit scary. I've been there. And you may lose track of things. And at a moment's time, you can keep up to date with me. Hey, Michael, how are you doing? I'm ready to get financing. Hey, Michael, I have a question about this. Today, a lovely lady calls me today, and I pick up the phone because I've spoken with her plenty of times. I know her personally, and on a business level, I'm okay with her just calling me like that. I won't always pick up if I'm busy, but I'll give her a call back. Hey, I'm sorry that I missed your call, and I just got quite busy that day, but here we are. And so we proceed with that. Very stress-free, hassle-free process with me. I'll be very transparent with you. And so doing all of this, just to sum it up, and I'll cover a few topics. I've been down this road. I know how difficult it is to get business financing. You got to more or less understand my backstory of, starting in that whole 9-to-5 role, having been in previous positions before that, being more well-rounded, and then understanding that this position was being terminated. And then luckily one day I had a response from a friend of mine to a Snapchat app for a teriyaki meal. Go figure. And we started talking about passive income, different business models, online business models. And that day, literally, I couldn't get home any faster and started looking for ways to doing this. I started a website, started to put some writing material because I wasn't in front of video. I'm not a video person, and that's hard to believe if you've seen me multiple times. Website, started to put some writing material because I wasn't in front of video. I'm not a video person, and that's hard to believe if you've seen me multiple times. This is still hard, even till this day. But I started doing all that stuff. I started learning how to put websites together. And in that came about the digital marketing agency. In that came the affiliate marketing for the health space. And then I started to grow, focused on this project. Then I focused on this, and boom. Next thing you know, I'm doing blogging content. I'm writing SEO content for business owners. I started attracting leads through local search ads, Google ads, SEO written content organically, Google ads, anything you can think about on that end, to other forms of paid advertising on other platforms. Perhaps you have YouTube, TikTok, social media apps such like Facebook, Instagram. But now I have more of a do-it-for-yourself because I'm very tied up, even if I've outsourced that, to doing other business models, eventually getting into this role. But don't get beaten up if you feel that road isn't going to, if you see those quote-unquote dead end signs, yeah, it might end the road, but it doesn't end the journey for you. So even past that road, there has to be something behind there, right? There has to be land. Maybe there's some cows in that land. But there's so much even after that that is yet to be discovered. And if you don't take the time to find an alternative route to get there, you're going to be exhausted looking for business financing. I don't care what anybody tells you. A lot of them just want you to start an application. They have you, they can contact you, they're yours, etc. And now they feel like they want you to be obligated to them. Just have to be very careful about who you turn to. But yeah, that's in a nutshell, my backstory and the development of me getting into business, realizing working that role that I said I was working in, underappreciated, undervalued, going through school, going through a lot of ups and downs, and not wanting to be a slave to the 9-to-5. And it's not for everybody to be their own entrepreneur / business owner, but if I would recommend something is to start something on the side. If it's not even a passion, use an interest that can turn into a passion, and see what the market is speaking to. So few things that I want to mention here. Let me come up here because we are streaming. I am doing great. How are you doing? Hopefully you're still in here. I know I went on quite a bit. Is it true about the $50,000 grant? You mean the microloan? Because that is. There are a lot of other ones. So I'm going to go ahead and close up shop for this one. I may come on later. But yeah, I've been in this position before. where you're a complete startup making no money, literally trying to figure out inch per inch how to get that leverage. Because when you're at that point and you realize you've tried and exhausted everything, you're like, what else is there to give? Now, if you haven't and you're a complete startup with no money coming in, pre-revenue, a lot of private lenders will not take a chance on you. Now, there's angel investing. We can get into venture capitalists. That's more so along the lines when you have more money coming into your business. But not a lot of them will want to take that chance on you. So you have to look for those personal/startup loans, those personal credit cards. If you're over leveraged, be careful. Business credit cards is what I would recommend you do. Get established business credit. Get access to credit lines at 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, up to 150, if not 250,000 plus with corporate credit at that point. And so when I started to get into that, oh, well, I couldn't get accepted for financing on the front end, or oh, why would I only get approved for 20 to 25% when I was using a personal checking account when somebody else was getting more, but because they had a business checking account? Oh, well, I couldn't get accepted for financing on the front end, or oh, why would I only get approved for 20 to 25% when I was using a personal checking account when somebody else was getting more, but because they had a business checking account and it also has to do with revenue, I wasn't going to get enough. That wasn't sufficient for me to use for marketing and advertising and other things that were going to be a part of my overhead. And so putting it all into one, I had to get away from just my personal credit, utilization. In the very beginning, like a lot of us do, when we don't even have a business, when we're like not even credit heavy, we're using cash more. We're thinking, well, we don't have enough of a limit, so we have to be careful about how we use it. So that's who I was a long time ago, where I was trying to use my credit cards, but I only had a $500 credit card where I could only use about 150 to 175 of that. I'm like, well, hello, I can't be using more than 30 to 35% utilization. So started to get more personal cards. And then that then developed into business credit cards and understanding how business credit is supposed to work. The LLC, the S Corp, the C Corps, tax advantages, tax disadvantages at a point. And then understanding how to leverage credit, how important that is. And then that's also going to set the foundation for growing my revenue, getting the tools and supplies that I needed to be able to do that for my jobs or whatever I needed to do. And then understanding how that can grow my revenue and then getting more money on the front end, being able to be applicable for more financing through private lenders, looking better, using business credit on top of that. If I didn't use it, I just use this on the front end. And so, like the most of you here, it's not easy. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this up. Appreciate you. Thank you for being in here with me to listen to my story. There's a lot of little like intricacies between each and every one of those aspects that I had gone through from the beginning, from pre-working that role I was in, being underappreciated and undervalued, where I was in school, other roles, to then, hey, I got that message, and then continued on forward, going home, searching for ways, starting that whole digital marketing agency, affiliate marketing business model and roles/e-commerce hybrid, back and forth on that. And then eventually getting into what I wanted to do, which was here servicing you as a business loan broker expert and going through those trials and tribulations. So for those of you who don't necessarily understand yet, you will. And if your ego, your frustration, your letting that get in the way, it's time to put that aside. I got you. I'll help you. Just don't increase friction. Let's reduce friction. Let's not have any friction. No resistance. Let's not have that tug of war. There'll be some points in that. I get it. But let's not go there. I'm going to make it as punctual and as simple, hassle-free, easy for you so we can move forward. So appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. I didn't say this, but hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving and that you are having a great day today. Whatever part of the world you are watching from, have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of it. Let's get after it for the rest of the week. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. Maybe there'll be a description underneath this if you're watching this on the YouTube channel or perhaps in the course or wherever this may be to get started with. I'll have some extra resources like a questionnaire, which I recommend to get started with. But yeah, that'll conclude everything from myself. And if I didn't go into it too heavily, just know that, going into 5, 10, 15, 20,000 plus in financing, getting those, it's not always easy. You have to work your way into those and understand the contingencies involved and who you're working with, what parties, not to just to give people information, just to give it because of how they're going to use it against you. So that is everything from me. Appreciate your energy and time for being in here. Talk to you all soon.